Smart hummingbird feeders. We're gonna see if they're worth it. This is the Netvue Birdfy Hum feeder. So basically it's supposed to take pictures of the hummingbirds that are coming to this feeder and send it to your phone. I've tried other Netvue products before and they do work pretty well for that kind of stuff, so I'm curious to see how it translates to hummingbirds. My name's Derek, I've been birding for 10 years and I've tested a lot of these smart products. I'm here in Louisiana and we're gonna set it up in my friend's yard to see if we can see some of the hummingbirds she has. Now the smart bird feeder packaging has come a long way. It actually has hummingbirds found in North America on it. When they started, I feel like a lot of this stuff just had random colorful birds. So they're getting better in specializing it for species you may actually see. And this claims that it's going to identify the hummingbirds for us. So it says identifies over 150 hummingbird species automatically. Now I'm very skeptical about something like female black-chin versus female ruby-throated, because those species are so similar it's hard for even experts to identify without having the bird in the hand. So I'm very skeptical that it can identify those correctly. And some of my friends' hummingbirds they were banded, so they actually have marks on their head of what species they are, so we can kind of test it against that, hopefully. But it has a lot of cool features that it says would work well, like anti-ant design. There's like a moat, large reservoir, easy to clean, waterproof, temp and humidity monitoring, 3 megapixel image, and dual cameras. So let's get this open and kind of see what's in here before we go to her house and set it up. So we have a user manual and quick guide. The actual cleaning brush in here. I'm assuming this is like a solar panel. A lot of smart products have a solar panel you can set up. Yep, and then that'll help charge it. Normally they do work pretty well, but if you're in a cold climate and it's cloudy a lot, it can run out. But if you have it up for hummingbirds in a cold climate, you're probably not gonna have it up in the winter. So this is our perch, different little brushes and components. And then this is our actual hummingbird feeder. So one misconception with hummingbird feeders is that you have to make the dyes red. A lot of the times the feeders will have something red, so you don't need to dye it, and the dye is probably not good for hummingbirds, so you're good to just have it, be the clear sugar water solution. The reservoir is not as big as I thought. It's a little smaller. I think it looks sleek though. So it looks like this locks and unlocks. You can fill it you can fill it like this and then put this in. And then the hummingbirds can feed from here. It's got a camera here and a camera here. So we'll charge it, and then when we take it to my friend's house, we'll hook up the app on my phone to the feeder itself. I don't want to do it now because then we'll be at the Wi-Fi here instead of her house. But I'm really excited to try this and start getting some images of hummingbirds. Curious to see how that AI works. Excited to see some images of some cool birds, and hopefully we can get it to start right away. We're here at my friend Diana's house. She has an incredible yard for hummingbirds in Louisiana. She had a broad-billed hummingbird. This is her photo she took, and then also a green-breasted mango, which is extremely rare. So unfortunately these two are not on the property anymore, but hopefully we'll get some other cool hummingbirds on the camera. So the first thing is let's fill this reservoir with the sugar water. So this is a 4-to-1 solution we have today. So this comes out, fill it right up. Cap goes back in. Hopefully no leakage. Peel this off. And let's turn it on. So far so good. Let's also get the perch on. So this just kind of clips in. Perch isn't super strong seaming, but I mean it's just tiny hummingbirds going on it. clips in. And now let's get it set up with the app. So Diana actually has another smart Hummingbird feeder, and she says she likes it, but when the wind blows, it will send a notification because that feeder's moving, it thinks there's movement. And then she also said it leaks. So those are two things we're gonna look for with this feeder to see if we have those same issues. Also wanted to mention it comes with a tiny cleaning brush for the flowers and then a bigger one for the actual feeder. And so sometimes you may wanna clean these every day or every other day depending on kind of the weather and how dirty everything's getting. So we just opened up the Birdfy app. So we'll log in and then we'll add a device. So we'll need to connect to the Wi-Fi. I'm gonna hold the power button for 5 seconds. So now we gotta scan the QR code. I always have trouble with this. I think it works. That was maybe the fastest we've ever done this. So just to not really scare the hummingbirds, we're not gonna set up the solar panel. But it is charged, but if you're doing this long term, you'd want to set up that solar panel. I have some other videos testing Netvue products where I do put the solar panel up, so you can check those out as well. So it did ask for location. I'm not going to show the specific location, but hopefully that helps with the IDs. Doing a quick firmware update. So we're updated, I put the hook on. This is supposed to be an ant moat, so ants, if they climb down here, they can't go up and then actually get to the feeder. See if that works, and then we got this connected, so let's see if we can get a first look at what the picture actually looks like. Hey, there we go. Ooh, so we got the 2 angles, nice. So let's get this set up and see if we can get some hummingbirds. Hey, we had our first hummingbirds. It was really neat. I was watching the live, I hit record. I like the 2 views, like the 2 angles, because the close-up view got it. The side view didn't really get it, but it's neat that you have access to both. This is one of the hummingbirds that was previously banded, so we know it's a female ruby-throated hummingbird. First experiences has been that it's really neat. The weird thing is it didn't auto-capture that they were there. So it's supposed to record moments when there's movement, but it didn't detect anything. So if I wasn't watching and hit record, it would just seem like nothing is there. So I don't know if that takes a little bit to kick in, or we need to change the sensitivity maybe, but that's kind of interesting, but it's been neat to see the hummingbirds up close. So we've been able to capture some really awesome stuff with the Hummingbird feeder. I did end up twisting the side camera a little bit and got some better angles so that we've had rufous hummingbirds, ruby-throated hummingbirds, one with a really nice gorget, and then a black chin. And we know it's a black chin because it had the mark on the head. So I think part of it with the detection is just being patient, because I would see a hummingbird there, I wouldn't get a notification, so I'd open it to record a video. But sometimes I'll see a hummingbird there and then the notification will be delayed like a minute or so. But also I feel like sometimes it just doesn't come at all. So that's kind of frustrating. But overall, I think it is getting it. So hopefully it will be more consistent. The AI is not great because it thought that I was Nana's hummingbird when I went to check it out. And then it said there was an Allen's. There's definitely no Allen's here. So with a lot of the smart bird products, don't trust the AI. But it's been really cool to see some of these images, especially like the male ruby-throated, the rufuses. There's been a couple different like behaviors of hummingbirds kind of fighting with each other for the feeder spots. That's the neat. It's pouring right now, so we're going to test how waterproof it actually is. Earlier, the back slot, we plug it in, I accidentally left it open, so I made sure that was closed before we got all this rain. feeder's been out for a couple days now. So we had it Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Without charge, it's at 7% battery still. So normally you'd set the solar panel up and that would keep it charged. But on just the full battery we set up, it lasted over 3 days, or probably like about 3 days. So that's pretty solid for battery life. It doesn't look like it's been leaking anywhere, which is good. And it's been capturing a lot of cool stuff. The sun came out one of the days. We got a couple flyover egrets right now. The sun came out a couple days, and that made the quality even better. I really love the dual cameras, and that you could see the hummingbirds kind of chasing each other was pretty neat. The feeders are fairly spaced out here, but they still get a little territorial, but it's been really fun to test the feeder out. I took the feeder down and cleaned it, and it was pretty easy to get apart. I liked having both the brushes. There's a bigger one and then a little one for the flowers, so you can really clean it out pretty well, which is important for hummingbird feeders. You don't want that nectar to sit in there and ferment, so you want to be changing that out and cleaning it pretty often, kind of depending on how hot it is in your environment. But if you ever see it cloudy, it definitely needs to be changed out and probably cleaned. So let's take a look at some of the stuff we got. We captured tons of cool things. I think one of my main takeaways is I really love having the dual cameras. That's probably one of the main things that you get with this feeder compared to other smart hummingbird feeders is the 2 angles. Because even though the front angle is cool, you're really getting mostly head. From the side, you can really see and appreciate more of the details of the hummingbird. And it's neat to watch them simultaneously. So even this rufous, you see that green strip on the side. That's pretty neat to notice. And it's nice to be up close and personal with them. You can actually see me in the background watching this one. The feeder did blow around quite a bit. So that is one kind of downside to the 2 cameras, is sometimes it would be pointed towards the neighbor's yard. Now, you didn't see anything that, in my opinion, would violate their privacy or anything, but trying to get it where it's just in your backyard might be a little bit tough. But overall, I think that was one of the main benefits. We did get loads of notifications because hummingbird feeders are generally hung, so it's constantly swaying if there's any kind of wind. So we got tons of motion notifications where there was basically just nothing going on, which is one of the downsides of having the hummingbird feeders hung. So if you get one of these, you may want to find a way to just have it kind of stable, so then you just get the notifications from the hummingbird. The AI did not work super well, kind of the case with all smart bird feeders. A lot of the times it's called the rufous hummingbirds, Allen's hummingbirds. Sometimes we would get like a wild type of other hummingbird that I know isn't in the yard. Sometimes we got notifications at night too from that motion. But let's look at some of the cool stuff we captured, and I'll see if I can find some of those crazier AI identifications. So you can see on March 9th, we had 277 motion detections and recordings. That's a lot. I did end up turning off notifications just because it became so often. Like this one, I think, will be one where there's just nothing going on. That's kind of, it's a waste of the battery. It's a waste of something that you have to look through. You can sort by birds when it detects birds, though. So yeah, like this one, there's nothing going on. Here it said Allen's hummingbird, Anna's hummingbird, neither of which are in the yard. But it captured a really cool interaction that I saved. So I'm going to pull it up. And it was actually a rufous hummingbird chasing a black-chinned. It looks so much better in the sun too. But that's so cool. It's so cool to have that video in that view. And it wouldn't have captured that if we didn't have the feeder up. So I think overall, the smart hummingbird feeders, they're really cool. Love the dual cameras. I do think sometimes it wasn't capturing the motion of the hummingbird, and the app was definitely a little buggy. Like sometimes I would go in and try to manually record, and then it would just kick me out and I wouldn't get anything from it, which was super frustrating. Hopefully that's something they fix in like an app update. But for trying it for the first time, it was really cool to see those hummingbirds up close. And it's just a really neat thing, kind of like the other smart bird feeders. When you get to see it for the first time, it's super cool. I also think that when I was seeing a hummingbird and I would go in and then I'd try to record, I think that would then prevent it from taking the motion detection recording. So I would kind of recommend just letting it be, and it'll send you the notification later. But then if you are watching the live stream, you do have the option to record or take photos. So it's up to you. Overall, I think there's a few bugs that they have to fix. Getting the motion detection just every time it sways. I guess that's something you could control by mounting it differently. But then kind of the app bugginess and the AI stuff, I don't know if they're really ever gonna fix. I will give the AI the benefit of the doubt on the ones that had the paint on the head though, because that would obviously screw it up because it's not natural. But things like Rufus, it had a tough time for, those weren't painted. So that's just something they're gonna have to improve on, or it might just never be perfect. But what did you guys think of what we captured? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Badgerland Birding.